tonight, regrets she has a few. Just released transcripts from the January 6th Select Committee revealing Ginni Thomas, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, said she would take back the text she sent to White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows about trying to overturn the election, saying in part, quote, "I regret the tone and context of these texts." Congressman Schiff then asking, quote, "And what in particular disturbs you in hindsight about the content of the text?" To which she replied, "Well, you know, I would take them all back if I could today, so I'm not comfortable with any of them being, I wish I could have rewritten them. I wish I didn't send them."
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and CNN is reporting on some of the newly released testimony from none other than SCOTUS wife Ginni Thomas, a woman who has professed support for former President Donald Trump and what happened on January the 6th.
In one of her messages to Meadows, Thomas wrote, quote, "Help this great president stand firm, Mark. You are the leader with him who is standing for America's constitutional governance at the precipice. The majority knows Biden and the left is attempting the greatest heist of our history."
I believe this is a story and a concept that we really don't need to lose in all the chaos around January the 6th and the Trump presidency, because a sitting judge on the highest court in the land is married to a woman who supported an insurrection. They claim that they don't talk about these things at home, but the court has proven to be leaning very right-wing, and if it were up to Thomas alone, it seems like a lot of scandals and illegal actions by Trump may be excused or even supported.
She was pressed specifically by the committee vice chairwoman, Representative Liz Cheney, who asked her, "And so you are aware that the president and his allies brought legal challenges, which was completely their right to do, but that they lost 61 out of 62 of those legal challenges?" Thomas responds, "I still believed there was fraud and irregularity, as millions of Americans do, Representative Cheney. I just think there's still a lot of things that are still being uncovered. And so I believe there was fraud and irregularity, contrary to what you believe."
Ginni Thomas claims some regret over the tone of her texts with Mark Meadows, but I think we can all agree that it may have less to do with admitting when she has been wrong and more to do with her being caught texting a White House official to encourage overturning the 2020 election. And again, I don't think there is enough of a focus on the concept that the Supreme Court is seeming to lose its legitimacy in the wake of everything that has happened since Trump. A body that was created to serve an apolitical stance is now more political and conservative than ever before. And with lifetime appointments, we're already seeing the impacts that it has with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. So how can we trust that Clarence Thomas is going to remain committed to the rule of law and the Constitution when his wife has been very clear that her stance is opposed to that rule of law? How can we believe in a system of checks and balances when the balance has been so thrown off by a belief in the big lie and misinformation? It seems clear that we are expected to take this in stride and think of it as a new normal, but it is not normal. We're supposed to have standards and uphold the law and the Constitution, but when a political figure like Trump stands as the opposite of every bit of that, then it seems like we are supposed to let that pass as just the way things are, but it isn't, and we don't have to stand for it. One thing that could fix what appears to be a very corrupt Supreme Court is a term limit. No more lifelong appointments, especially in the case that it's discovered that the judges are acting on behalf of political causes or special interests and not actually doing their jobs, which is interpreting the law based on the Constitution. Clarence Thomas could show some backbone and dignity and recuse himself from cases coming from the January 6th attack and the Trump crime network. However, it seems as though he is avoiding that at all costs. It seems like he really doesn't mind the bad picture it paints and the bad optics. But when you've had power for such a long time, when are you scared that it will really be lost? Overall, any and every person that conspired against the American people and created an environment where January 6th happened, they all must be held accountable. If we claim to be a country of rule and law, but it only applies to some, then we are no better than those we accuse of the same things. And that's an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.